Welcome back. It is week number 5 in the Virtues Museletter, and we are welcoming you from 13 countries. So I talked a little bit about the reach last episode, and from Germany, Spain, Portugal, Guatemala, Mexico, it's Australia. Thank you for being here. And I truly, genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, am grateful. I want to consider all of the ways in which our mind and our memory and our history and our ancestry and our family and our community, it all resonates, if I could use that word, and affects us. We are energetic beings. Everything is energy. And the dynamic, I believe, of the spirit, the soul, and the relationship with the ego, I think it really is finely tuned to that resonance. So depending on your community, for instance, or your environment, let's say, in that community, the impact plays out in your life, in your persona, in who we become. And it has occurred to me that the mindset of humanity and the mindfulness of society really needs to shift. We have to move toward caring and love. Love is the energy that we are so capable of and so exquisitely sensitive to and so majestically able to use in order to create, in order to progress in our understanding, in our language. I mean, in the 60 years that I have been alive, what a difference. I say it a lot, the world is a completely different place. And what that means for those of us who were born 60 years ago. So there's this like expectation almost, I guess because we've been here all along, that we should have adapted and known and seen, but we have blinders. I mean, this is the reality that we are finding out, that we have blinders. We can be gaslit. We can gaslight ourselves. We can have magical thinking. We can fall into depression. We can be manically escalating between highs and lows. And all of that is part of the energy dynamic that I'm talking about. I've just been watching the Prince Harry interview and listening to his story, their story, and thinking about the lifestyle choices that society has carved out for communities and how we have severed relationships with each other in ways that compromise love, and we have gone off track, in my personal opinion, in terms of our potential. It seems that we are a war-torn world that has been fighting against the duality all along. We'll never get through reconciliation if we can't be thoughtful about our past and the impact that environment had on the personas of the people. history is an incredible thing. We need it. Um, they're removing books from from circulations and schools and whatnot. So it actually, that the act of wiping away the history is part of the problem, I believe, especially if we've been doing it all along. We need to dig into the history and own responsibility for the mistakes. It doesn't mean that we made them. I mean, it's right, hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, began to ripple, and it's that ripple effect, that energy. Just, I mean, everybody who's listening must know, when you walk into a room and there's heavy vibration, if people have been arguing or something, I mean, you feel it. And we know now that children, they have these open receptors when they're born, and for a certain time they are open and they are feeling the feelings regardless of what they are seeing or what they are being told. Humans are so interesting, and it is my hope and prayer that the angel of understanding comes to help to guide us through the next decade or 7, in order to help us with the understanding from our history where we went wrong and how we can correct things in order to take us forward in a new and better way. I mean, isn't that what life is all about? We talk about our purpose and we try and pin it to a monetary source, but it's really about wholeness of humanity and bringing love up to 100%. Right now, who knows? I mean, wouldn't it be interesting if we had a love meter and a way that we could measure the amount of love in the world? Well, we need to move on. We are here to do a virtues pick for week number 5. And I'm going to use my app today, the Virtues Reflections app from virtuesmatter.com. So I've opened my app. I'm going to give it a shake. Joyfulness. Joyfulness is an inner wellspring of peace and happiness. It is beyond ordinary happiness because it is not an occasional emotional reaction to luck or circumstances. It is a deep sense of well-being that fills us with delight and hope. We appreciate the gift of life and savor its richness. We enjoy simple pleasures. We find the humor in things. We allow joy to carry us through the painful times. We take ourselves lightly and remember to play. Joy comes when we are being true to a soulful purpose. It gives us an abiding sense that all is well. There's a quote on the back from Paris Talks, page 109, by Abdul Baha. Joy gives us wings. In times of joy, our strength is more vital, our intellect keener, and our understanding less clouded. We seem better able to cope with the world and to find our sphere of influence. The practice of joyfulness. I have a deep sense that life is good. I enjoy the richness of life's experiences. I appreciate simple pleasures. I am optimistic and hopeful. I am in touch with my purpose. I feel inner peace even when life is difficult. I am thankful for the gift of joyfulness. It is the natural state of my soul.
Well, what a joy and a delight to receive this card and look at the image, which is water and a family of dolphins, or a school perhaps. So, what a beautiful angel to carry us into February. I am overjoyed at the sight of it, to be honest. And the questions that come up for me going forward in my journal will be: what brings me joy? What takes my joy away? How do I bring more joy into my life? And how can I become more joyful for myself and others? So, pure disclosure, I have been literally nursing a frozen shoulder since I edited last week, and it's way better. Editing today is not easy. I'm having to be very thoughtful. So I'm I'm incorporating, I'm calling in that angel of virtue. I am being really mindful of my posture, my body, and I am listening to the very subtle cues that I have to say I worked through some uncomfortable body cues last week while I was editing, and it got progressively louder and louder. And the next morning, whatever day I finished the editing, my shoulder was frozen. So I'm grateful that it is released and getting better, and that joyfulness is here. I have not been painting, so I didn't get into the water droplets, but loving the dolphin idea, and certainly lots of splashing happening there. So the ripple effect, bounces from activity to activity, and that's the way joy works. That's the energy of the angel of joyfulness. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank all the platforms that are promoting our podcast here. Wherever you're listening from, if you want the transcription and the images, you need to subscribe to virtueoftheweek.substack.com. This publication is free, and there is an option. If you have the means and feel it in your heart, you and my sponsors help to sustain this work. So thanks again for being here. Have a great week.